Hello everybody, Mike from Southern California again, and you're on the mic. So, we look back over the week here. Funimation's had a pretty bad one at that. I'm going to go through that here. I'm going to go through the week here. I'm sure everybody's been following everything that's happened this week, what's been revealed throughout. A lot of major revelations that just put the whole Kick Vic Me Too movement on its ear. So let's get going with this. So on Monday, thanks courtesy to Yellow Flash, we had the revelation, we had some release of some DMs from Chris Sabat and a friend of his who Flash has chosen not to reveal that source. And for now, we can all respect that for now. In which Chris Sabat, in talking about Kamehacon, his quote was, "Oh, I'll be there. I just don't want to make an announcement because of Vic's autistic fans. They'd rather see everything burn than realize that Vic is an a-hole." Well, I would say the one acting like an a-hole there is Chris Sabat. Once he got called out on that, once that was leaked and he started getting called out on it, then he started backpedaling and go, "Well, it was in response to Kiwi Farms doxing me." Only what we have is documented evidence from both the phone and from screenshots that tell us he sent that out on March 21st. He was doxed in about a couple weeks later on April 2nd or 4th. Some sources say April 2nd, some sources say April 4th. But regardless, the fact that he insulted the fan base, the fact that he used a developmental disability as an insult is just wrong. And many people got on him for that. That's not a very good look for you, Funimation. When you sit there and you say, "Oh, we don't condone harassment," and yet one of your voice actors went out and just insulted a whole bunch of your fan base. Just insulted a bunch of people who suffer from the diagnosis of autism. Including myself, mind you. Okay, so, it's never right to use any form of developmental disability, and this goes for both sides. Okay, I stand with Vic is not entirely, innocent on this. When you use autism or mental retardation as insults, you're not just demeaning the people you're insulting, but you're demeaning the people who actually suffer from those, diagnoses. So think about that, everybody. Anyways, moving on. Tuesday, we got okay, the Sabat revelation was a nice little bonfire. But we got another huge bomb that just lit off on Tuesday night. So, and everybody knows Ron Toye is a defendant in Vic's defamation case. He's supposedly the champion of women now, according to Monica. Well, lo and behold, there's actual court documentation. Actual court documentation that he has a history of domestic abuse. Not from one wife, not from one ex-wife, mind you, but from two. From two ex-wives. Now, Kick Vic was trying to spin it. Oh well, the second one got dismissed. Well, because they settled. settled with Ron having to pay for everything and not being able to go anywhere near his ex-wife or her family. Now Nick had kind of also had thought, well, maybe Monica's doing all this because she's being coerced out of fear, and many of us were willing to give Monica the benefit of the doubt on that. We were willing to give her, I myself were willing to give Nick himself had even said that if she was doing this because she was in fear for her life and she was being abused by Ron, then he would on his very show would take back everything he said and publicly apologize. What was Monica's response? She just seemed to double down on everything she was saying. But in that she also acknowledged that, yeah, she knew that Ron had a history of that, and that he's been in counseling, and that now that he's a better person. Vic offered to go to counseling too. And yet you guys still burned him down. Don't you find that just a bit hypocritical? So Kick Vic is okay with Ron actually having a history, a documented history, court documents, a documented history of domestic abuse. He's okay. But yet Vic, who they never bother, if Vic was this monster that they want everybody to believe, no police reports, no court documentation, no restraining orders, nothing. Nothing but hearsay. Hypocrisy is sure abounding in all this. And then, of course, last night, going back to the whole Funimation and just what exactly they allow and don't allow in terms of harassment. They fired Vic over a jelly bean joke in which he said that he ate Monica because she signed a jelly bean. That's wrong. Hugs are wrong. Normal, natural affection is wrong. But sitting in a studio making jokes about making homophobic jokes, child rape jokes, going into one skit where you're basically a gay, you're producing a gay hentai with somebody else's IP. Okay? And from what I've seen and heard, Toye is not happy about that. They may have been aware of it, just seeing where this is all going, but this could very likely, especially if it's against the licensing contract, that could end Funimation's, dubbing of Dragon Ball. I would think that any of the Japanese companies would be wary at this point of dealing with Funimation, just showing how incredibly corrupt they are. Now, Nick had some harsh criticism for Justin Cook and Colin Klinkenbeard. Let me give my take on that. I can understand Nick's point on Justin because Justin is kind of the head of production, and if he knew, he should have nipped all this in the butt. If he knew about this stuff, I would hope, from what I met Justin before, I would hope that Justin did try to defend Vic. I think though that we have no evidence for or against that thing because Justin's one of those who he doesn't have a social media presence. He doesn't have Twitter or Facebook or anything like that, so kind of hard to track what he's actually thinking, which I think is smart on his part because, as we all know, everybody's been able to find every dirty little saying or every dirty little thing that some of the other Funimation voice actors have come out against. So I don't want to. Okay, we can condemn Justin from his position of being the head of production at Funimation. Maybe he should have, if he knew, then he should put a stop to it. And if he didn't know, then he should have known. But I'm not gonna crash on Justin because I haven't seen any reason other than that part of it to really crash on him. He hasn't said anything publicly about the whole thing. We don't know for certain. I do know that he, in the past, I've heard he and Chris Sabat are possibly the best of friends, but again, there's been no kind of indication whatsoever. I've seen nothing to indicate that Justin is for or against Vic. That he's either I stand with Vic or I think he's, as far as I know, he's neutral and we should respect that until we see something come out that says otherwise. Now with Colleen, I think the part that Nick was being a little critical on was that little snippet we heard in the audio with her and Monica, and they were talking about like penises and vaginas and pulse, rape corners and all that. Again, not that I'm outright giving her a pass. I mean, the behavior, I don't think anybody's really giving, on the one, I don't think anybody's condemning them as much for the behavior. It's more for the hypocrisy. Because they're sitting there condemning Vic for a lot of things that he didn't even do. And then getting him fired over a jelly bean joke. And these people are doing things that are saying and doing things that are far worse, that probably do actually go against Funimation's actual written policy on harassment. Okay? Now, again, I am not going to condemn Colleen too much, only because, from what, as I've said before, I know she's still, to my knowledge, she's still following Vic on Twitter. She is still more or less friendly with him as far as I know. But she's just chosen to stay out of it. Now, don't quote me on that because, again, I've seen there's been no evidence to or for in her case. She hasn't said anything. She's more or less remained neutral. Albeit, I've seen evidence that would suggest she might be more closeted. I stand with Vic. She's not. I don't think she's in kind of a difficult position because she's again part of management. Maybe not like high management where she's got a lot of power, but we've seen and heard through some documentation that like Monica went to her to go to HR when she wanted to make her complaint against Vic. So and we know she does a lot of she does some of the special features and stuff like that. And I know there were some people critical because they thought she may have had a hand in taking Vic's interview out of the DBZ or the Dragon Ball movie DVD. Now, mind you, I wouldn't be too harsh on her for that either. Even though she's the one who's in charge of it, she may have had pressure from higher up. So I think that you got to take that into consideration too. I think there are some people at Funimation who do support Vic, but they have to keep kind of quiet about it because they're not necessarily the ones. Because they're getting pressure from higher ups. They're probably getting pressure from people like Sabat to, that's something that somebody suggested, that why a few weeks ago when J. Michael Tatum, Brittany Karbowski, and Art Bruce Elliott came out, made their statements supporting Monica and stuff like that. But I would ask J. Michael Tatum, Damian Mills, Greg Ayers, Jamie McGonigal. After hearing some of these things that were leaked, particularly from Sean. Now, I understand from what I've heard, a lot of people don't actually like Sean Schemmel. Okay? But considering what was leaked, are you guys sure that you're on the right side here? Really? And the four of you that I mentioned, you know why I mentioned you. Okay? I've said it on previous videos. I won't say it again, but because I'll respect your privacy. But in this case. But I think most people already know your all situation. And now, today, the reason I'm getting this video, I'm getting out a little late today, is because, of course, I spent the day kind of trying to catch up on some of the videos from some of the other YouTubers, and I was watching, Nick's video, stream from last night, obviously recorded, not live, obviously, but yeah, this Funimation, not really a good look for you. In some other news, of course, we do know that apparently J. Sean Lemoyne had filed some motions to strike against Ty yesterday, the day before the deadline to file those motions to strike. Nick went over those documents on his stream that I watched. Again, I think they're just playing games. I think they are scared. Honestly, I think Lemoyne knows they're going to lose the TCPA. Lemoyne tipped his hat a few months back here when he tweeted that he was expecting the trial to take 8 to 10 months. Which tells me, because Nick was speculating that maybe Lemoyne knew about Ron's domestic abuse history, and knew if that came out, that could be damning for them. I would agree. Based on everything we're seeing now, I think he's trying to put on a brave face. He's trying to put on a good facade. But I think anybody of any reasonable intelligence sees right through it. I think Lemoyne knows they're going to lose the TCPA. I think there are many. You would almost have to say that whole team: Lemoyne, Bolney, Johnson, Perez, Eric. They all know they're going to lose that TCPA. I know this is a bold statement I'm making, but I think the writing's on the wall there. I think it's clearly on the wall. I just hope that I'm right. I believe that's the way the case is looking. I am hoping that I'm right. Because the case does need to continue, does need to go to court. I think, Vic has been maliciously defamed. And as I said, the best ways we can continue to support Vic is, one, by getting petition conventions to invite him as well as voice actors who aren't associated with Kickback. There are a lot of good voice actors and actresses with Sentai, with Bang Zoom in LA here, Sentai in Houston, Bang Zoom and Viz Media out here in LA, Media Blasters and NYV Post in New York. A lot of them who don't get a lot of attention that I'm sure would love for the fans to come by and say hi. And, if you want, you can check out my convention preview episode from Tuesday. Now, with all that being said, I'm gonna close up with one more quick announcement. Then I'm gonna close it out here with the usual spiel. So starting next Friday night, September the 6th, granted, the same day as the TCPA, hopefully. Starting at 5 o'clock, I'll be recording it this Sunday. I'll be recording these episodes Sundays. I will be doing voice actor profiles. The series will be called Voices Big and Small. I'll be highlighting voice actors throughout the North American dubbing industry from both the States here and Canada. I'll be basically doing them from, as I call them, the top 6 areas. I will do some Funimation voice actors, just the ones not associated with Kick Vic. So just keep that in mind. And I hope it will give you guys a chance to learn about some other voice actors and actresses that, maybe, I hope that when you learn about them, you will check out their work and will start, getting to know them and wanting to get their autographs and start, become fans of theirs. So next Friday night, 5 p.m., the first premiere of Voices Big and Small. I'll be doing the recording of that this Sunday evening. And with that, check the links below. If you want to contact me directly, my Twitter handle will be down there in the description. I'm also promoting, of course, Fantasy Soft and Phoenix Animation. And then Vic's GoFundMe, as always, guys, with Vic's GoFundMe and also with the Indiegogo. If you guys can and it's on your heart, never feel like you have to. If you can't, it's understandable. But if you feel that you have the ability to and it's on your heart to do so, please consider donating. And if you've already donated, please consider donating again. If you cannot donate, if you're not in the position to donate, you can still help out by sharing the links. That's always appreciated. And if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. I always look forward to the conversation with you guys. As long as it's respectful, nothing nasty. And with that, let's keep the conversation going. Because you're on the mic, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.